your sticky fingers, boy, and sing for your dinner, sing. Come on, pretty baby, make me lose my mind. Everybody get together, gonna make love shine. Do you know what it is to feel the light of love inside you? And all the darkness falls away. If you feel the way I feel, then I believe we have the answer that I've been searching for tonight. Love me baby, shake me like a monkey, baby. Forever I'm yours, yours, yours,
Roll up like that stank, you get it on. Split to fit it on, came to get it on. Hold up, you want work to get cut.
Works. Number one, look down. This is very important. There's an average of 65 gum stains on every little square that you step on. It's not important.
Sexy black guys dancing. I love it.
Couple other things to note is that Times Square stretches from like here to here. If you were to go just over a block, you can already see those 3 tall buildings over there. That's the beginning of an area called Rockefeller Center. We've all heard of this, right? Of course. Home of NBC. TV, home of MSNBC, which is like the liberal bastion. Right opposite that in Rockefeller Center is Fox News. So they are, you know, puking out to the world, both of those stations to their audiences, telling them about how the other person is, you know, horrible, and they're broadcasting right next to each other from practically the same building. Why not? That area over there we call Midtown Rockefeller Center, 5th Avenue. If you went over there.
Get it now. I think I'm gonna go visit it tonight. See it.
Visit what?
United Nations.
Right. But otherwise, what makes up a Broadway theater is the size of the theater. If it's got 500 seats or more, it's the Broadway theater.
I mess with you.
Hi.
Hey, how come you're wearing a hat?
I got a haircut.
Oh, yeah? Can I see it?
There's nothing to say.
Come on, let me see it.
Forget it.
Come on.
All right.
It's actually called Tom's Restaurant, but we only see that part because they didn't want to have to pay Tom's Restaurant thousands of dollars every time they showed it, so they just showed that part. If they'd shown that, it would have cost them millions over these seasons. New York slice.
The fact that those waterfalls are representing the loss of those buildings, the fallen, and it'll never stop flowing. So the idea is to always keep that memory alive. Now, you've got around it the names of every first responder and every victim that died in the attacks, in all the attacks. You'll see their names, they're hollowed out. And the reason for that is because you have the absence, but then you have the sort of the inner light of the memories of the people. And at night, from underneath those names, they shine a bright light forth, and all those names are lit up and kind of shoot their light into the air, which is kind of beautiful. Colloquially known as the Freedom Tower. Its name is One World Trade Center. That is the new center of the World Trade Center complex, larger than the original one. The original one was almost 1,300 feet. That one is going to be 1,776 feet tall.
The building is over a year away from its completion. It's now at about 1,000 feet in height. When it's completed, 1,776 feet.
farthest edge, there in the silence, you were there. My faith was torn to shreds, my heart in the balance, and you were there. Always faithful, always good. You still walking, but you were there. I've wandered at heaven's gates, I've made my bed in hell, and you were there still. Always faithful, always good.
It's kind of the house that Teddy built, right? This is the Natural History Museum. This is the place where your kids will know it as the Night at the Museum. Oh yeah, also you. With all the dioramas and Dum Dum and the giant dinosaur in the middle, the like skeleton. Now already, somebody was obsessed with this museum and wants to go on Monday. Who was it? Whatever, someone. Oh yeah, there's the headband. Years ago, Times Square has only existed as you know it for about 80 years. When the New York Times, no, like 90 years now, when the New York Times, the newspaper, moved into the brand new New York Times building, amazing. It was 9 stories tall. It's the second tallest building in all of New York City. That was amazing back then. To celebrate, the owner, Arthur Sulzberger Sr., shot off fireworks off the rooftop. And that was 1904. 1904, and that was the first year that New York City had an amazing New Year's Eve celebration. Thousands of people came in front of it to watch those fireworks go off. Previously, how did they celebrate New Year's Eve? Down at church. Not only did they go to a midnight service, but at the end of the service at midnight, Trinity Church would ring its church bells. That's where we get the name Ringing in the New Year. Ooh, amazing. So when New York heard there were fireworks, they were like, we'll be up there. Forget your church. The second year, the New York Times was like, it's New Year's Eve, let's shoot off fireworks. That'd be amazing. The only problem was by then, lots of buildings had built up around it. They shot off fireworks, and one of the fireworks landed on another building and caught on fire and burned down. So the guy thought maybe we'll switch to a new idea for celebrating the New Year, and he remembered there's this Navy way of timekeeping for ships out at sea, which is throughout the day, it's almost like a modern day sundial. It's basically a ball on a giant pole that traces the light throughout the day, all the way down, and that's where we get the ball dropping on the top of the original New York Times building, down to the bottom there. Of course, it has nothing to do with like timekeeping throughout the day, and I don't think the Navy had ones made out of millions of Swarovski crystals, but that's the original idea anyway. So we'll see that building in just a second when we turn the corner. That building is the beginning of Times Square, which is not a square. That building, the best thing I love about it is that thing used to be the newspaper. It's not the newspaper anymore. It's nothing now. That building is in the middle of Times Square, and it does nothing. However, it makes $20 million a year in advertising revenue. Why? Because the owners of the building thought, actually, they make more money not renting it out as office space, but as just using it for billboards, because so many people videotape or photograph or come through Times Square. It has so much exposure that they just sell ad space on the outside, and that building is hollow and gutted on the inside. Huh.